My dear Theiss, I've decided. I'm leaving soon. Today. To see the world. I've just now booked my plane ticket, and I've arranged a place to stay. I've been thinking about this for a while, and now seemed like the best time to get it done. I had to act before I could chicken out, and before I knew what I was doing, I had paid everything and I just couldn't take it all back. I wouldn't let myself. I know you must be furious with me. To be frank, I can't blame you. What I'm doing seems a little crazy, even to me. But I have to see the world. I have to discover all that I can. I can feel the earth calling my name from all around, adventures begging to be gone upon. I'm leaving you with this, a tape of my goodbye, for now, and my next location. I hope that, despite your resentment of me, we can stay in touch, old friend. There's a note with this tape that has the address of my residence. At the time, you should be able to reach where I am. I'll see you when you catch up to me. Best of luck, me.
Episode 1. Sitting on the coastline, you can hear the people sing. Hello, Mera. I got your tape. To be frank, I think this is odd. More than that, I think this is insane. You leave to go gallivanting across the globe, and then propose we stay in contact via cassette tape? Do you have any idea how long it took me to find a working cassette player? Or something I could record tapes on? Well, regardless, I hope this tape finds you well. You told me where you'd be staying. I'm just not certain if this'll get there in time. Or at all. not sure I wanted to. Why am I doing this? I don't even fully understand how to work a tape deck. Besides, you can't just leave and expect everything to be okay. That isn't how this works. Now look at me. I've gone gallivanting across the globe as well, because why wouldn't I do something that utterly ridiculous and impractical, and I've run off far away from you to Mexico, because I see the appeal of getting to learn about what I'm passionate about, despite the fact that it's most definitely not something rational to do. Theiss, the genius, has done it again. Listen. Even if by the time you get this I'll be long gone, right now I'm in Baja California, which is, as I mentioned, Mexico, not the US. The weather is nice, a good change from home, I suppose. It's really quite pretty here. The ocean is so big and blue, and the clouds float so gently above the shoreline. It feels like such a big contrast from home, where it always feels like, even in the summer, it's always a little overcast. Or maybe that was just wherever I was. I've never been able to have good luck with the weather. Until now, I guess. But even more than how pretty it is, if it can be said, the people here have been fantastic to talk with. I've had such a nice chance to talk to some of the locals. They've told me about some pretty amazing things. They've actually been pretty eager to share their stories in exchange for my own, and you know that I'm an avid storyteller. But also, you know why I'm here. It's not the stories. I'm here to find more out about the language. So far, on my bizarre and irrational conquest, I found out very little, unfortunately. Because of the lack of people that speak it, I have been unable to find anyone who does know the language, much less talk to them. However, I have been able to spend some time asking around and learning about the area so as to get a feel for the language, as well as what there is to eat. I don't know how you just left for who knows where without a plan. You could have starved. If you haven't put out your phone to begin frantically Googling what language is a rarity in the area, it happens to be the voice of the Kiliwa people. Did you even take your phone with you? Anyways, the Kiliwa tongue is the oldest in the family of human ethno-linguistics, and perhaps because of its age, there are only 3 speakers left. The chronicler of the group, Arnulfo Estrada Ramirez, emphasizes that culture is conserved with speakers. You have no idea how cool it is to learn about the culture here. I was able to learn a bit about the creation myths, as they're really quite cool to learn about in Kiliwa culture from what I found by Mr. Estrada Ramirez. The sacred witness of creation, maroon sheep with their antlers formed the sky, according to the mythology. The most exciting thing, however, is what has been done to keep the language alive. Leonor Farlow, with limited knowledge of the written language, worked together with Estrada Ramirez to translate various texts. In December of 2017, Estrada Ramirez published the book Language and Kiliwa Culture, where he explains the work he did and summarizes it. However, there are currently no children or adolescents that are considered to speak this language well. The speakers did not teach their children, though it is not uncommon in dying languages. It is why languages die, however sad that may be. It's how they are, I guess. Speakers don't teach their descendants. Discrimination, abandonment of community, dispossession of ancestral lands, all things that lead to, letting a language die. Culture changes over time from outside influence, and the language evolves and dies as the culture changes. Traditions change, new words are used to describe both new and old things, trends become more and less popular, and the sound of native chatter fades into the tongue developed by time and influence. These words make me sad, though I have seen and heard them time and time again from what I was able to find back home. Other tongues take over as culture blends and communication changes. People fear discrimination, of not fitting in, as their lives change and the people around them change. It is sad, but not unexpected. I wish I could make it so we could communicate without eradicating language. I wish it were so we could learn of and enjoy the culture of others without warping it to be more like ours or making ours more like theirs. So far, history and society have not been able to grant my wish, but who knows what the future will entail. A big part of language eradication is the discrimination behind it. People are just so cruel to other people, destroying their homes and culture, kicking them when they're down, leaving them behind. Anyways, I've decided to take up knitting. I don't know why. I suppose if we're going to do silly and irrational things nowadays, I may as well take the initiative and pick up the hobby. Do you have a hobby, Mera? Oh, I suppose I'll never get an answer, since you're too busy doing silly and irrational things. Don't expect anything from me. I haven't had enough time to learn to knit and make you something as well. That would be preposterous. But I need something to keep me busy in the downtime I have while not exploring like a maniac. You have to know I hate being angry at you. You know that, right? But you up and left, and your goodbye was less than desirable. A note and a tape that I had to spend 3 days looking for a way to play. I can't just not be at least a little justifiably upset with you. The worst part is that it's only been a few days and the littlest things still jump out at me. I saw a pigeon going to eat a French fry at the airport. Then a seagull chased it off before I got the chance. I turned to tell you something that may have been witty, may have been stupid, I can't remember, but you weren't there. And it's been kind of hard. You know, I'm talking to you, you're gonna hear this like I'm going on some crazy rant from you, like I do, except I'm not gonna be there. It's only been 3 days, Mera. 3 days since I woke up to find a half-empty coffee pot, some cold muffins, and your tape. Your stupid... Today it was a street performance of... I'm not sure of its name, but I got most of it recorded. It really caught me off guard. I'm not sure why, but I wasn't expecting it. How it made me feel about, well, all of this. I might be able to play it for you. I think I can. Hope you enjoyed the piece. don't know how to end this. Is it like a call? A letter? Do I beep loudly to send a message across in Morse code? It doesn't feel finished, the tape. I feel like I need to tell you so much more. Tell you about how I despise your sorry face. Tell you about how I miss it. Tell you about how our neighbors were eyeing the garage, which I think will be filled with their things when we return. Tell you about how I've been thinking about getting a tattoo. You know, the one with the planet and the stars I've been drawing since I was, 13? Tell you about my birthday gift from my sister. About how I fell down when I was 6 and scraped my knee because I tripped on my own shoelace, and how it seemed like the end of the world at the time, but it's actually quite funny in retrospect, and how I can't remember if you know the story or not, and maybe I can... Okay. What if... Not a goodbye, then. I'll just leave you with something to keep your mind on as you travel. Okay. Once in another world, somewhere very close and yet somehow still desperately far away, there lived a young girl. She was well-mannered, this girl, not quite shy, but certainly quiet, and dreamed too often of seeing the world. Her family was, in a manner of speaking, very large. She had been adopted as a baby, not knowing and not caring where she had been before she was brought into her quaint little town. The village was practically all family, if not in blood, then in bonds forged by time. And she loved having many relatives, she did. But sometimes it felt as though she couldn't get her voice out into the world without it being smothered by everyone else's first. Now this village was a town of strong and brave people. Though well beyond the days of battle and strife, every villager knew how to handle a sword and shield. And every villager had their own agenda for the young of the town, wanting them to follow their traditions and using their methods of work and play. The young girl, however, had a favorite uncle that she followed with stars in her eyes. He'd stopped to listen to her questions and encourage her to explore her dreams within the world. The other adults within the village, her parents included of course, tried to win her over with promises of fun festivals and exciting duties following their lifestyle, but the girl could not be swayed. One day, the girl's uncle pulled her aside from her chores to have a serious conversation with her. "Beau," he said, for that was what she was called by him. "Beau, do you truly wish to do as you say you do? Do you desire to explore the world?" Beau, of course, did not hesitate. "Yes," she said. "Yes, uncle, I do." Her uncle smiled at her and told her that if she wished to see the world, she was old enough to do so. He handed her a bag of gold, a knapsack with a change of clothes and some food, and most importantly, his sword and shield. The sword and shield caught her off guard. These, perhaps the base of knowledge within their town, were to be earned and granted from a smith or relative when they felt they are deserved. She began to tear up and hugged him tightly before going to say her goodbyes to her parents. Beau knew her uncle would not have given her the sword without their explicit permission. The next day, Beau left to see the world. The last the village would see from her, for a long time, was the sun glinting off both the top of her head and the edge of her uncle's shield, a hand raised in farewell for now. She walked to the edge of the town, took a breath, then began her 2-mile journey to the edge of the forest, ready to face the world. I think I'll leave this here, for now. If you get this, then just let me know what you think. Love you, Mera. Yours, me. Around the World from Me to You is brought to you as my personal project. The voice of Theiss is, well, me. The voice of Mera is Caroline Kondak. Music is Solo Cello Passion by Doug Maxwell, Allemande by Juanetta Mixel, and Requiem in Cello by Hanu Dixit. All can be found at www.youtube.com/audiolibrary. If you have any interest in dying languages, I encourage you to look into them. There is lots of history, and it can be quite interesting to learn about. Keep it up.